So I got an email from Universal Audio asking me if I could take a look at their Spark bundle. And I actually also had a video call with them because I had a few questions about it. So let's dive right into it. Let's take a look at the new Universal Audio Spark. So why Spark? Well, so you can create music with the best gear ever made. A collection of legendary studio hardware and instrument plugins for a low monthly price. So first of all, it's a subscription model, and what it actually is native versions of their UAD2 DSP processed plugins, because all Universal Audio plugins required you to have I actually call it a very expensive license key, but that's not how it works. It actually does some processing, but you need to have hardware DSP, hardware sharks in order to run Universal Audio plugins. And this immediately brings me to, I think the most important subject and the most important question to answer here. And that is, do you still need to buy those UAD accelerators? Because that's what they are actually called, these type of things. Do you still need them? Because now everything is native, right? Well, first of all, not everything is native. Not everything runs on the CPU. There are still a lot of plugins that you will need these accelerators for. There's also no conclusive word from Universal Audio yet if they are going to convert everything to native and if that actually is possible. I'm not a programmer, I don't know, this is just what they've told me. So if you want to run those plugins, yes, you still need an accelerator. And the cool thing is that if you have bought plugins to run on these accelerators that are now also native on Spark, you will receive a perpetual license for that for free from them. Now there is a reason why earlier in the video I called these hardware accelerator boxes expensive hardware license keys, because for the last few years I've been looking at these things as that. Hardware keys. Of course they do the processing, but it's also a very smart way to avoid some piracy, because you will need such a box before you can run their plugins. And the reason why I'm seeing this like this for the last few years is because computers have become so much more powerful. I mean, the whole idea of having specific processors in your computer or specific processing boxes to run your audio on is like 15 years old. And back then it was actually needed because the CPUs weren't as powerful enough and the computer just couldn't do all the processing. But right now they can. And I actually think that it's a very good thing that Universal Audio now comes with Spark. And it's kind of a necessary step that just has to happen. It has to happen that these boxes will become obsolete. That's just a good thing. That's development. That is innovation. It's needed. And I understand that it can bring you in a weird spot right now if you're thinking about buying some of these accelerators. They are still very valuable, but the way ahead is, of course, running everything on the CPU. I mean, imagine this, having everything just on a laptop, just a laptop. Apple M1 powered, whatever. I mean, there's enough storage in there, there's enough CPU in there, enough memory, all that kind of stuff. You can just go anywhere and it will just work. You don't need anything extra. Now, a small thing to note is that I'm talking here about the specific DSP boxes. If we're going to talk about audio interfaces or the whole Luna recording environment, the story will get different, of course, and then all that hardware stuff is still very much needed in order to get a super low latency processing and in order to get a very streamlined, it just works type of workflow. So that's everything that I want to say about this. And because this was the first question that I really had, and it's just something that I just wanted to give my own view on. Let's take a look. And let's start with the classic traditional Revision A compressor thing. The first thing that I notice is that it doesn't come with screws, so you have to screw it in yourself, and it's not new. You're buying something vintage, or it's not buying, you're subscribed to having the right to use something vintage, because look, the damage on here is already it's already damaged. It's not, you're not getting a new one off the shelf, you're getting a damaged one. So yeah. Another thing which I noticed is that the knobs have a shadow, which is kind of confusing for me because I've made the lighting in my studio in such a way that I do not have a lot of shadows so that I can clearly see what I'm doing. And the light comes from right above. So if I'm looking at this knob, the shadow is over here and not over here. And what would be really cool if they could create something that it like looks at how the light falls so that they can also simulate the correct shadow in the plugin. I would like that, but they're not doing that. They are guessing that the light comes from there, from my perspective, which it now does because I'm filming, but it doesn't. Also, take a look at these details in the shadow when I turn the knob. Like, even that is animated. I mean, great attention to detail. A few other scratches and stuff on the front plate. I mean, promises to be a very vintage sound. That's already compressing. So let's quick attack, quick release. Let's squash this thing. Also no auto gain. Which also isn't on the original, of course. Of course not. But again, I mean, if you're a Universal Audio, I guess you're able of creating automatic gaining. I mean, 60 years of audio experience or whatever is it, should be able to do that, but it's not in here. Also, keep in mind that this is the first time that I'm using Universal Audio plugins. Like I've almost zero experience with the hardware plugins. I've used them once in the studio somewhere and didn't really focus on what I thought of it. It was just I needed to use them. So this knob over here changes the headroom, which is needed in different gain staging scenarios. For instance, if I was a bit louder, it would already start compressing when my input gain was over here or something. So really cool that you can adjust that. There's also a mix feature in here. I would say add automatic gain compensation in here. What else do we have, which could be the API Bus Compressor could be really nice to take a look at on this drum take. By the way, if you would know the name of this drum take, of the song from this drum take, leave it in the comments down below. Oh! Quite honestly, it sounds really good. It sounds really good. I have nothing to complain about the sound. No. Maybe those hardware accelerators weren't that much snake oil at all. Maybe their algorithms were just really, really heavy. I know that there are different ways to program a plugin, and if you are fully simulating an analog circuit, it's very heavy to do that. To do that. Maybe that was it. Maybe that was it. Who knows? I didn't ask that question. Another thing that I want to try is the LA2A. I have a piece of dry vocal here. It's an intro of a song.
Oh no, anxiety creeps up on me. Is this how it's supposed to feel? Tell me when it's over. I got someplace that I gotta be.
No output gain.
It won't leave.
There's no output control even. So that is one of the things that I would like to see in plugins more. Is we have a gain knob over here, which is input gain. We have peak reduction, but we have no output gain. So even if we want to compensate, it's not possible. That's annoying. That's just annoying.
Oh no, anxiety creeps up on me.
Yeah, listen to the difference.
Oh no, anxiety creeps up on me.
This is really interesting how these simulations sound, because I really have a feeling that it really sounds different from the non-Universal Audio simulations.
Oh no, anxiety creeps up on me. Is this how it's supposed to feel? Tell me when it's over. I got someplace that I gotta be. It won't leave.
Really interesting. Let's try the 1176 as well, because that's actually a compressor that I use a lot.
Oh no, anxiety creeps up on me. Is this how it's supposed to feel? Tell me when it's over. I got someplace that I gotta be. It won't leave. Oh no, anxiety creeps up on me.
Yeah. It really does that 1176 thing.
Oh no, anxiety creeps up on me.
Yeah.
Is this how it's supposed to feel? Tell me when it's over, I got someplace that I gotta be.
I'm not saying this that often, but I'm a bit impressed of how analog this sounds. I wasn't expecting that. I actually was expecting it to become a very funny video, realizing that even Universal Audio couldn't do it. But I always go into a video being skeptical. Let's do the last thing. The thing that I, love is everything that is magnetic. Is that weird? Maybe. But when it comes to audio, so transformers, magnetismus from Taylor, it's on my left over here, tape machines, that kind of stuff. And over here we have the Studer A800 tape recorder. Let's try this one out. Yeah, reproduction head. This is bypass, I think. Yeah, 456. I think that's the same tape that I'm running. Let me check. Yeah, 456. Grandmaster Studio mastering tape. Mastering audio tape. Yeah. Box is a bit old. It is. That's the cool thing about plugins. You don't have to bake the tape before you can play it. We've got tape spin. Look at the amount of wasted space in the plugin here. Oh, we can open it up. We can look under the tape reels, which is actually on a Studer, I think, on the front of the machine. Okay, can we drive it a little bit more? Can we link these two things? How do you drive sync EQ, repro EQ, noise? Noise! I would love to have a 715 noise setting on my tape machine where I can just, change the hum and hiss with just one screw. That would be really great. So we've got sync EQ and repro EQ. So we can also listen to the sync head, which is a lower quality version, probably less high frequencies. It's not a huge difference. All right. I would love to see a multi-track version of this or something, where it's also like when you put the channels next to each other. Maybe that's also possible. I don't know. It says multi-channel, so I don't know. I would say this thing, but I would love to do. If you would like to see that, let me know it in the comments down below. I would love to do shootouts between real machines and that kind of stuff. I do not own a Studer A800, but I can figure something out maybe. And same goes with the other units. I would love to do a shootout between that. Also, I would love to see a Pultec EQ. Just maybe because I've been recently exposed to a set of very good Pultec EQs. Not mine, but they are amazing. I would just love it to have something Pultec in my DAW until I can buy some real ones. Conclusion. So first of all, I think it's really cool that Universal Audio has made the step towards native plugins. As I said in the beginning of this video, this is actually needed. It's 2022. It's needed. And while Universal Audio is very good at their algorithms and very good at their software, I don't think they are the best in user interface and control design. First of all, and the tape machine is the best example for this, like look at the amount of wasted space. Like what are these views over here? They are just being beautiful and showing me in what type of mode I'm in, which I can also see on these knobs. Very analog interfaces, which is okay because you are simulating simulating that piece of equipment, but at least be mindful and think about the fact that we are now using it on a computer, and a computer that is very luxurious, that can do automatic gain compensation, that can do a lot of other stuff as well. So why not make use of those features? Also, for instance, in the LA2A, adding output gain to it. I mean, it's not on the original, I understand. And on the original, it can be a little bit of hassle to get your gaining right. But why not make it easier by adding a control? It doesn't even have to be on the front plate. It can also be a little bar or a little control over here or something. I'm always wondering about those choices. Like here's the thing with simulating analog gear. We're all trying to make a one-on-one replication of the analog gear. But what I think is better to do, which really will move people away from analog gear, is not making it as true to the original as possible, but making it even better by adding certain features. One of the features that they have already added, which I found really cool, was that headroom adjustment. That's really cool. So yeah, that's what I think about Universal Audio Spark and more or less Universal Audio in general, because I've never talked about Universal Audio because I couldn't run their stuff and I was way too cheap to buy an accelerator from them. Also, the accelerators are pretty expensive, or maybe not expensive, but it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. I'm not saying it's like expensive. It's a lot of money. There's a difference between that. So that's it. That's my conclusion. And for the disclosure, I have been in contact with Universal Audio about this. They were very patient with me answering the questions that I had, most of all about this step and about what this step would mean for hardware users and also for people that were thinking about buying hardware and that kind of stuff. I am actually running the demo because I actually requested it from them to not send me any NFRs for this test, because I want to have the same experience as everybody could get when they would try the demo. So I'll link to the demo down below. It's a 14-day demo. It's a subscription model. It's new, so they are not supporting Windows yet. They are working on that, and they are also working on supporting Apple Silicon. I'll link that all below. Now, if you appreciate the independence of my channel and don't want me to sell out to big companies like Universal Audio is a big company, of course, but if you do not want me to sell out, make sure to support me. And one of the coolest ways to support me is by using my affiliate link. So I will link Toman over here, Sweetwater over here. Links are also in the description down below. And if you use those links, so click on those links and buy something in those shops. So if you're planning on building a whole studio or whatever, make sure to use my links. And if you do that, a little bit gets kicked back to me. And thus you are helping me without it costing you anything extra. Like, you get the gear for the same price, and you are supporting YC Studio. I found that to be a really cool way. If you want to go even further in your support, make sure to check out Patreon. On Patreon, you get early access to videos, answers to your questions, some other good stuff. It's just €1 per month, $1 per month, whatever. You can also pledge more if you want. It's all on Patreon. The last way to support me is by watching more videos. I'll link one of my videos over here. But of course, YouTube will do its best to recommend videos from other creators around here as well. So you might also want to take a look at those. Thanks a lot for watching. Keep pushing. And bye-bye.